everyone. Hi, KungfuBeer. We're here on the Mateo community server, and we're going to do something today, which is explain how to use Otto. We're having a lot of people turn Otto off and cycle it, and it's not making a lot of sense why they're doing it. So we're going to go over a bunch of the things that we do with Otto and what to change and how to do it. So we're right here, BNSF 8364. We're in the corridor, Alameda corridor. We're going to be leaving out here, coming up on a red signal. From there, we want to go into LAC, which is the Hobart Yard, and we'll look at the different things that we can do to get there. All right, stay tuned. Be right back. All right, so we have the double stack here, LBC LAC 24. And we are going to proceed forward. We're in the right here at the Alameda corridor now. We're going to stop this signal. We want to get down to the BNSF main 1, but we'll stop this signal first. Then I will show you what we can do from there. Okay, so we're back in the cab. We're at a red signal, and if we look on the map, we're in the San Bernardino sub here because there's a lot more switches and CTC and intermixing to do, so this is the perfect place to discuss this. So Otto's on. We're right here at the Redondo Junction coming out of the Alameda corridor. We're at this signal here. We need to come down here to BNSF main 1. So what can Otto do? Otto can route us on the main line only. We want to come down main 1 and we want to pull into Hobart. Now my train tag is LBC, which is Long Beach, the container yard, to LAC, today's date. So if I can either tone Otto using BNSF radio 36 tone 15, but we got to make sure that it's on the tracks that we're at, but it should be fine because it's still radio. So 3615. So we're going to hit channel 36. We got to wait for the channel to update. DTMFF, or what is it, 15? We'll see if that's it. If not, it won't respond. There's our tone out, the paging tone. And now he's asking what we want to do. So we want to request a signal. So after he says, which I turn the stuff off, he's giving me a yeah, I'm not sure why. So I have I do have a light, and let's look back at Otto to see where we're going. So he knows I'm BNSF. He's going to route me down BNSF through main 1. However, we see here that he's not routing me into LAC like I want to. That's not abnormal. He doesn't really route us into yards. So all that text gets in my way as, where I'm on the server. So now I have a green, so let's go ahead and get going. So if we go from right here, and we are coming through to BNSF main 1. BNSF main 1, we want to go into Hobart. So we want to pick one of these tracks that we're going to go up, but I have a clear through, so I'm not going to be able to do that. If I call him right now and say cancel my routing, it ain't going to happen. This is the signal I want to drop. So I want to be on this block here when I tell him cancel my routing. I don't need to turn off Otto to get this signal read. So we're going to keep an eye on it. After we go under the crossing, we'll cancel our signal. So while we're going towards it, what can Otto do? Well, Otto can route us on the main line. Otto cannot route us into most yards. Otto can route us into the Barstow receiving yard, the West Colton receiving yard. Sometimes, if the switches are set correctly, can route through the San Bernardino yard. And sometimes, coming from the other direction, from the east into Hobart, Otto may be able to route us into the LAC yard, but the train will go right through it if it's AI driven and there's switches on the other end of the yard are not set across to stop the AI train. So Otto does not route within the yards, and Otto isn't always able to route us where we want to go. I was reading today, so Amtrak trains, whether it's AI or player controlled, is the top priority usually, followed by Z trains. Again, so if there's a player and an AI in Z trains, typically the player Z train gets the priority over the non-player Z train, typically. And anything else below that is going to be based on whether it's human or AI. And that's dependent on who's entered the system first. So if AI has requested a route before a player did, then the AI is going to have the priority. It's going to be first in the routing decisions. I do have my channel here on 36, but I can also keep it on the default channel, which is 0. And I can, then all I need to do is tone. So you can see the channel is 0 now. So now I'm on channel 0 and I just tone out if I want. I don't actually have to do the channel, then the DTMF. I can just simply tone out for the route that I'm on. So after we cancel, we're under the bridge now. We want this next signal. If we look here, it doesn't show us here yet, so we're going to keep going until we get closer. So I have a green here. You can see the next one. I have an approach. If I cancel my route here, then it's not going to work out as well for me as if I pass this signal and then have them cancel my route. So I want to get in the block first. So we'll go ahead and tone them now that I'm in there. I'm going to start slowing down. I know this is going to be a red here. Cancel my routing. See the light in front of me goes red. Got dynamic brakes on to stop before it. Put in some little bit of independent brakes. I'm not using air. Could use air. We don't need air now. Dynamic brakes are working fine. Now I'm below 5 miles an hour. I'll go ahead and use the independent brakes. Okay, so now that I'm stopped behind the red signal back there, and if we look here, we see that there's the switch I was trying to throw before. I'm out of red. I'm in the block. So now allow me to change it and pull in to Hobart. However, I unchecked that so it's white, but I still have that red signal. So if I try to ask Otto right now, it's not going to let me route in there. Let's see what happens if I do that. What I suspect is going to happen, he's going to throw this switch back and then route me down the road. See, there's the switch goes. We look at it and he routed me right back down through. That's not what we want. We want to go into the yard. So do I need to turn auto off to do that? No. Now I'm back on a red, and we're going to try to change this again. Okay. I have to keep cycling this so I can see on the map, but it says that's a CTC switch. So I'm looking at that, and I get the beep, says you can't change that. However, if we go back into the map, we can see here that it's flashing. So we can change it rare by right-clicking, turning it blue, then left-clicking to change it back. Once we change it once, we don't need permission anymore. So now that I have this switch in the direction that I want it to go, I need to make sure that the other switches are good so that I can pull in where I want to go. Okay, so we're at this signal. We've already thrown the switch ahead of us. We want to proceed past the light. It's an absolute signal, so we can't just go. We need a restricting. So we'll go to the map here, the DS map, and we're going to give ourselves a restricting signal. Now we have to make sure we press the right one, because if I push this one, that is coming the other way, not the one we want. So we need to There's the stand with the light on top of it. So we're going from the west towards the east. This is our signal. For main 2, this is the signal. For main 3, this is the signal. Main 4, this is the signal. You can see over here at Riddle, there is a restricting. One, that's not going to work because the track isn't switched. We'll cover that in a minute. But 2, somebody left it and now it's stuck, and we don't need to cycle Otto for that. We can just drive a train past it, or there's a couple other things we can do. We'll cover that in a minute, as I said. But for now, we're in main 1. We want to get into Hobart right here. Going to give ourselves a restricting signal by putting our mouse over it and right clicking to turn it white. Make sure you're on the correct signal before you do that. It is white. If we get out of the DS screen, we see it's now flashing with the restricting symbol. So I'm now able to proceed forward at restricting speed. Not above 15 miles an hour, but more importantly, I need to be able to bring the train to a complete stop within half the distance that I can view. I'm not going down there on this track, so that's not the distance I need to stop in. I'm going over here to see stuff's in the way, so I have to be able to bring the train to a stop within this distance right here, right now. So we're going to check our switches again as we're coming in. Remember, in your DS map, you cannot control the speed of your train, so make sure you aren't getting it running away from you as you're looking. So we should be on the second switch, which is CTC. Watching our speed here as we're creeping up towards the maximum speed limit and the restricting, but we can see a little bit further now. We can bring this to a quick stop because we're not that heavy. We're an intermodal. I'll keep it about 10 as we enter the Hobart yard. We've already lined our switches up, so we're going to go through the yard a little bit. And now we're in the yard. If we look, the signal did drop on us as we went through it. Right here you can see we're in the block so that the signal is gray. Back of the train still coming out of the corridor there. You see the signal head itself is red as the train went through it. Okay, now we're exiting the LAC yard here at Riddle. As we see, there's a signal here. That's this one. The one down there would be that one. So we have begin CTC here. We wanted to route this train. Let's say we want to manually route to the fuel station. How do we do that? Well, we basically find where we wanted to go ahead of the signal. This signal here would be a good one. Commerce is where that fuel station is. So we want to come from here. And we want to go prior. Now we can't select track where there's switches. So we always want to go before the signal. So if I double click that, that is now where I've set and asked to do. However, I'm not going to be able to get there because I have a restricting here right now. So the restricting would allow me to come out. But if we go look at that, that restricting is red, not flashing. And that is because the switch right now is not activated to allow us to go through. So let's go look at that. So we're down here at the crossing just a little bit ahead. As I told you, the signal is not restricting. It's currently red because the switch out here is lined up, not for us, but for the through traffic. So there's a signal here. It's never going to clear, one, without a train passing it. And two, because this signal, or correction, this switch is not thrown. So we'll go ahead and right click on that, turn it blue, click it once, and we'll turn it back white. And if we look, it's now flashing, so it's now a restricting. However, back here we still have a red, so we either have to give us a restricting to that one, restricting through this one up to the next signal, or we can just ask Otto if he'll route us, and he should take over that signal. But let's go look. So if I look here at my signals, I'm red. I've already indicated where I wanted to go based on this green here. So let's see what it does. Now if I look at my train, my symbol is none. All right, so the symbol doesn't matter for our case where it says we want to go. I am running a BNSF train, by the way. I just don't have the pack for the Jeep 38s or 40s, whatever these are. But so I have it tagged as training. Well, it'll route me through as BNSF through the BNSF lines. But since I've indicated I want to go to main one here just before Commerce, Otto should put me there. But we're going to find out right now if that's how it happens. So again, looking at our signal, we go ahead and tone him. Now I'm going to request a signal, say, hey, I want to go to where I marked on the DS map. And I don't have my thing. So he gave me a 10-4. I now have some signals up. Now what do these signals mean? You can always go to the depot server and pull up the signal rules if we don't know. And we're going to be looking for BNSF. And we have a yellow over white, which is an approach restricting. So I'm under restricting rules again. Otto gave me the restricting because the one ahead of me is just restricting. So if we look on here, he's bringing me up to this restricting here, which I can pass, and I can get up to this signal right here. So I'm allowed to go up through here to that signal. The stand is there, the light is away from me. So I can go up to that one, and we'll see if he routes me from there. Currently have a stop though. That restricting is still there. This is the only way to clear restrictings without dropping Otto, which we shouldn't have to do. We'll look at our DS here. So now we're in the block. We're coming up through here. We're going to head up to that restricting there and see what happens. So now we got for 3090, that's us. Now we got signal indication. If we look here, he's got me, doesn't really have me through here because that was already a restricting. So he's not going to override what was here because I can go there. But from here, he's routing me not where I want to go. You see BNSF, this guy here is actually headed out. We're following behind him. We don't want to go there. We want to go up here to Commerce where we said we wanted to go. Do we need to turn off Otto to fix that? No. We're going to go to the first signal and stop. Or if we're on the move already, we can simply cancel our route and then ask again. So I can just try requesting signal again, see if he changes anything. So he heard me the first time. We are going to prepare to stop at that signal though. So far he's not made any changes. All right, so he has not come back with what we're looking for, so we don't want to get crazy and toning him constantly, but we are going to cancel our route. Now the signal goes red in front of us. We'll unselect and reselect where we want to go once we get close to the signal. Okay, so we're at our signal. There's no boards on it, so it is a absolute signal. We're going to, in this DS screen, is only contains absolute signals. So we're here. Again, we want to come over here, so I'm going to remove that. I can't click this one because it's a switch. So I want to go from here. I want to go up over here and then over to main one here. So let's see if he'll route us again. If he doesn't route us, we'll do it manually with Otto on. All right, I want to request a signal. I don't want mainline authority. We'll cover that in a minute. It's acknowledged for 3090. Now we just wait. Okay, now we have an approach. Should go clear in a second, but he only routed us to the next signal. So let's go to the next signal. So since it's an approach, we can do 30 miles an hour. We'll keep an eye on here. You can see now he's already routed us up to main 1 from that signal. So he wasn't able to route us before, probably because of the restricting that was there. So now we're going to get to go where we asked to go. Okay, so hand throws when it comes to Otto. So we were just cleared up to this track. We were supposed to stop that signal. This hand throw is before that signal, which is good because we're in the block already. We can simply throw the hand throw if we want to go through and come off of this main before that red signal up there. Okay, so we're coming up on our next switch. The reason that we routed ourselves up here, not at restricting, so we can go a little bit faster, obviously, but we're going to request a stop at this signal. I do want to give myself a restricting from here because there is a hand throw about a half mile ahead of me that we want to pull off into a siding. Now, if we ask Otto, I'd like next available siding. That is a hand throw. He can't route us into that hand throw siding. He can only route us into CTC or automatically controlled sidings. So since it's a hand throw, here's what happens if I go throw that switch and then give myself a restricting. Okay, so this is the hand throw I want. So if I throw this now and we look back where the train is way over there, I'm going to go ahead and go to the signal stand that I'm at and give myself a restricting to come here. No big deal, right? Let's go see what happens. If we're in the cab looking at it, again, I have a restricting. It's the right one, but it's not flashing. Why is that? Well, because the switch is open. So we went over there and threw the switch. However, we don't have a flashing red light on the hand throw that we did. Why is that? Well, it's simple. If we look here on the DS screen, well, looky here. There is a siding or a switch that is thrown against us, so we can't get through there. So we gave ourselves a restricting, but we can't go because we can't get through. So we'll set that back the way it was with our restricting and the hand throw. And now when we look, now we have a flashing light. What happens if that hand throw is thrown? It goes back to solid red because we can't get through. However, once we have a restricting, we pass the signal, we can throw that hand throw because then we're in the block. So hand throw goes back in the cab. We took too long. You can see up here there was an opening there. So we give ourselves a restricting. Everything's lined up. We can now go forward. Now that we're through that signal, signal goes back red and we can throw that hand throw. Okay, and so now that we're here, switch, we can open it up. We own the block that we're currently in. So the main line switch is open. We can proceed through it. As soon as the car passes it, the last car, got to make sure we lock it back shut. Nobody's ever in a siding for like 30 seconds. You're in there for at least 5-10 minutes. You're holding up traffic and all kinds of other problems. So make sure you close the main line switch as soon as your last car passes. And then when you need to come out, just open it back up. But you will want to check your DS here first to make sure. Okay, so last one is mainline authority, and when do we use it? What does it mean? Currently on main 1, and I have empty tankers here. I'm coming back from somewhere. So if we look at these, I've got empty tankers, and I need to grab these full hoppers. Now I need to put the full ones up against the engine. That's where the full cars go, and the empty ones behind. So I'm going to have to disconnect here, pull forward, pick up, go forward, come back and get everything. So mainline authority is when you're going to be going more than one direction on the track, and you need that authority in that block to be able to move freely in that block. So we are going to need that. We're going to go forward, back off the main, get these, pull forward, come back, and then leave. So mainline authority. That's the only time we need it. So let's call the dispatcher. And we're going to request mainline authority. And we have authority granted. So if we look where we're sitting, this part, this block that we're in right now will be pink. And we'll see that in a minute. But first, we got to disconnect our cars. So we have mainline authority for main 1 here. That means we own this right now. We can go back and forth as we need to. That's what mainline authority is. So we can open this switch. Again, we're not going to be able to see it on the map, but I'll leave and keep mainline authority as we depart so we can see what it looks like. It's a pink on the train, on the tracks. We're going to get our hoppers here. There for a couple seconds, so that's why we left this switch open. If we're going to be there longer, we would close it. So we went behind, but like literally we were there for 15 seconds. Now we're going to close this back. We're done with it, and we're going to utilize our mainline authority to go backwards. Now you can see here in pink, this is where we have the mainline authority between these two signals. So we need to remove that. Otherwise, trains can't pass through here. So we'll just simply tone dispatcher. Now we're done going in 2 different directions, so we're going to relinquish the mainline authority. Now we've relinquished it. We'll check it here. It should go away here in a second. And now it went away. That's it. Mainline authority covered. Now, the whole time we've done all this, Otto has remained on. We have not turned Otto off for anything. There are occasions when you have to turn Otto off, but it should be very few, far in between. And when you are turning Otto off, you need to make sure, you need to be aware of all the traffic on the sub, where they're going and where they're at before you do. Because players are going at 50 miles an hour, you turn Otto off and all the lights turn red right in front of them. So like this train here, I don't know what this one's doing. This one's kind of stopped for some reason. But all the traffic, if I do it right now, he's at a signal and he's going to have to jack the brakes because he's already at the signal. If we go and look and see where he's at right now, if we were to throw that, this signal right here would go from green to red. He's come around the corner. He would not be able to see it. And boom, that one turns red on him. And then he's like, uh-oh, I can't stop before that because I'm doing 60, 70 miles an hour, 60, probably 50. But he won't be able to stop in time. He'll be blind because all the other signals said he was going to be good. So we have to make sure it the rare event that we cycle auto, that we make sure that all the other players are not going to be affected. I hope that helps everybody understand how auto works on the Mateo community server. If you have any questions, please put them in our Discord. Please ask before you do anything. The Yard Master should be able to help you. And so that's it. It's really that simple with Otto. Yes, occasionally we have to knock the drink out of his hand and have him do what we want him to do. But again, as you saw, as I demonstrated, if you have enough patience, you're not in a hurry, you shouldn't be driving trains anyways, but if you simply redo the steps, if it doesn't work the first time, usually the second time it does. But it's up to you to pay attention before you start leaving the location you're in or a long route. You have to pay attention to what's going on. That keeps you out of trouble. Same thing with braking. You got to hit the brakes the last second. You were not planned. You're not planned for where you're at. Thanks again, everyone. KungfuBeer here, signing off.